friend, my name is Do. I am 35 years old. I have a very happy family. We recently left the big busy city of Hanoi. Life there was hard and very expensive for us. We moved back to my small quiet village in North Vietnam. We don't have much money, but we have a peaceful life. See my second video. Today I want to show you how a low income family in Vietnam go on holiday. We go to a very famous and beautiful place, Hạ Long Bay in Quảng Ninh province. We start early at 7 a.m. At 8 a.m. we stop at a small road station. It's very simple. We eat breakfast and buy some snack. Look at this. It is try jackfruit. On your road trip, you must eat try apple or beef jerky. Here we eat try jackfruit. It is cheap, sweet and very delicious. Look outside the window. This is coal mine number 6. It is huge. Long ago, I gave power to the first electric plant in North Vietnam. After 3 hours, we arrive at Ao Tiên Post. We take a big speedboat. It can carry 100 people. This is my first time on a speedboat. It is crowded, but very smooth.
The adventure began at the Ao Tiên seaport in Van Don, Quang Ninh province. As we arrived, I was immediately struck by the port's immaculate condition. It is a modern, beautifully structured gateway, clearly designed to welcome international tourists and luxury cruise ships from all over the globe. There was a sense of pride walking through a facility so well equipped and thoughtful, a testament to how far Vietnamese tourism has come. We boarded our high-speed boat, and as the engines roared to life, my mainland worries began to fade. The ride was incredibly smooth, so gentle in fact that the usual discomforts of sea travel were entirely absent. From my seat, though the view was partially obstructed, I could still gaze out the window at the surreal landscape of Ha Long Bay passing by. The water was a mesmerizing shade of clear, brilliant blue. Dotting the horizon were magnificent limestone karst islands, ancient sentinels guarding the bay. Clinging to the surface of the water were small, floating wooden houses. These, I realized, were the homes of local fishermen who farm fish in the sea. The floating rafts surrounding them formed a delicate, intricate network of livelihood upon the water. If you ever have the chance to visit Vietnam, Ha Long Bay is an absolute must-see. It is a world wonder not just in name, but in the profound, breathtaking reality of its marine landscapes. After a peaceful 45-minute journey, the silhouette of Quan Lan Island emerged. Stepping off the boat, we were immediately greeted by the bustling energy of the island's port. Even though we had intentionally planned our trip for the middle of the week to avoid the weekend rush, the area was teeming with tourists. Yet, despite the crowds, the air hit us differently here. It was incredibly fresh, crisp and cool. The sky was overcast, blanketed in soft gray clouds, but rather than feeling gloomy, it provided a pleasant, gentle atmosphere that was perfect for both adults and children. We were picked up by the hotel's electric cars, a wonderful, environmentally friendly mode of transport widely used here. As we drove along the coastal roads toward our accommodation, the true character of Quan Lan began to reveal itself. The island is astonishingly wild. Because tourism hasn't been aggressively developed here, the beaches and landscapes retain a pristine, untouched charm. The roads are surprisingly nice and new, a sharp contrast to the wild greenery bordering them. However, nature's fury was also on display. Along the road, countless casuarina, Australian pine, trees lay fallen and uprooted. These trees are a staple of Vietnam's coastal areas, but they had not yet recovered from the devastating wrath of Typhoon Yagi. Seeing those fallen giants was a sobering reminder of the fierce weather this region endures. Our home for the next 3 days was a cozy, modest hotel. Because the island is so close to the open sea where winds and storms can be fierce, you won't find any towering skyscrapers here. Everything is built low to the ground. Our room was about 25 square meters, featuring 2 large, comfortable beds, a small table, a refrigerator, and a clean bathroom. Surrounded by lush greenery, it was a perfectly airy and safe haven for our little family. If there is one thing that can wash away the exhaustion of travel, it is the boundless, infectious energy of a child. That afternoon, Jenny could hardly contain her excitement. She ran toward the beach as fast as her little legs could carry her, a picture of pure, unadulterated joy. For me, as a father, watching her face light up at the sight of the ocean is a feeling I will cherish forever. We chose to spend our afternoon at Minh Chau Beach. Unlike some of the more famous spots in Vietnam, this beach caters almost exclusively to domestic tourists. We saw very few international faces. The beach area is well equipped with services. Small shops and stalls line the sand, providing everything a family might need. Tents for resting, freshwater showers, life jacket rentals, and even high-speed canoes for the adventurous. We plunged into the water and had an absolute blast. Jenny played her own little games in the shallows, laughing as the water splashed around her. After hours of swimming, my wife and I were exhausted, but Jenny? Not in the slightest. Her energy seemed infinite. Even after we returned to the hotel, she insisted on jumping right into the hotel's small, clean swimming pool, happily floating on a little plastic playboat. For dinner that first night, we dined in a beautiful restaurant designed like a traditional northern Vietnamese wooden stilt house. The deep brown wood and rustic architecture provided a warm, inviting atmosphere. Being on an island, the culinary highlight is, inevitably, the seafood. Every dish brought to our table featured fresh, live seafood caught right off the coast. It was a spectacular end to our first day. The second day greeted us not with sunshine, but with rain and a biting chill. We woke up at 6 a.m., mostly because Jenny was already buzzing with excitement. We had to bundle up in jackets, a stark contrast to the tropical heat one usually expects in Southeast Asia. The rest of the hotel was still asleep, safe for a few other early bird families. Once the rain paused, we knew we had to make the most of the day. We rented a motorbike for $10 a day, with gas included, by far the most convenient and liberating way to explore an island. Our first destination was a place mysteriously named Robinson Beach. Why Robinson? I wondered. As we navigated the rough, uneven dirt road lined with wild, untamed flora for about a kilometer, the answer became clear. The beach is a rugged, isolated stretch of nature. At 6:30 a.m., it felt like our own private discovery, shared only with a few local families who were up early, bending over the wet sand to catch sea snails. Later that morning, we drove to Turtle Beach, by Rua. If Robinson Beach was a quiet secret, Turtle Beach was a roaring testament to nature's power. The wind here was fierce, and the waves crashed against the shore with terrifying beauty. Because of the danger and the complete absence of a rescue team, swimming is strictly prohibited. Yet, Turtle Beach was mesmerizing. It boasts a stretch of incredibly soft, fine white sand. In Vietnam, powdery white sand is usually a hallmark of the central and southern coastlines. Finding it here in the north is a rare and beautiful anomaly. Because of its wild nature, there are absolutely no commercial services here. No shops, no chairs, just raw, free nature. I picked Jenny up and ran toward the breaking waves, the wind whipping around us. Children have an innate love for the elements, the sand, the water, the breeze. She giggled uncontrollably, completely fearless. When we finally retreated to the safety of the dry sand, she was shivering, and we quickly bundled her up in a warm towel. By 9 a.m., the rain returned, cutting our beach exploration short. We retreated to the hotel where Jenny, entirely unbothered by the weather, demanded to return to the hotel pool. Pushing her around in her little plastic boat, listening to her endless laughter, I realized that for a child, a vacation isn't about perfect weather. It's just about being together. When evening fell, the skies cleared just enough for us to explore the local town. We opted for a simple, comforting dinner, a hot bowl of traditional Vietnamese pho. At $2 a bowl, it was slightly more expensive than the $1.50 you'd pay on the mainland, but by island standards, it was an incredibly cheap and satisfying meal. But the true culinary highlight of the evening was a local specialty: Ha Long yogurt, Sua Chua Ha Long. It's fascinating because Ha Long isn't known for sprawling dairy farms, yet somehow they have perfected this dessert. We visited a vibrantly decorated, colorful little shop and ordered a bowl for $2.50, pairing it with some simple, sweet crepe cakes and fried dough, ban kep and quay. Sitting there, sharing sweet treats and chatting, I felt a deep wave of gratitude. My wife's company had partially sponsored this trip, meaning we only had to cover half the cost. Seeing my wife smile, relaxed and away from her daily stresses, made every moment feel like a profound blessing. Around 6 p.m., we took a stroll down the island's walking street. It's a 2-kilometer stretch that serves as the beating heart of Quan Lan's nightlife. As the sky turned dark, the street lit up. It is lined with hotels, cafes, hot pot restaurants, and seafood joints. Tanks of live seafood, massive groupers, cobia, and lobsters, likely transported from mainland farms, were proudly displayed in front of the eateries. Jenny, full of life, began dancing to the music spilling out from a local cafe. It was a perfect, peaceful evening.
Triangle, very good.
Đây.
Our final morning, day 3, began with a short 2-kilometer electric car ride to our breakfast spot. The island is best experienced on a motorbike if you want to truly feel the wild air and navigate the rugged trees. but the electric car was a comfortable alternative. Breakfast was a spectacular bowl of bun hai san, seafood noodle soup, for just $2. Pho and bun are the undisputed champions of Vietnamese cuisine, but when cooked with a broth sweetened by fresh island seafood, loaded with thick cuts of fish, tender squid, and plump shrimp, it elevates the dish to an entirely new level. The restaurants here keep their seafood alive in water tanks right up until you order, ensuring an unmatched level of freshness. After a final lunch, it was time to pack our bags and take the electric car back to the port. Then, the ultimate irony of travel occurred. For 3 days we had been bundled in jackets, dodging rain showers, and hiding under gray skies. But at the exact moment we were preparing to leave, the sun broke through the clouds. The sky turned a brilliant, piercing blue, and the island was bathed in glorious, warm sunlight. The landscape looked entirely different, vibrant, sparkling, and deeply inviting. It was a bittersweet farewell, looking back at the sunlit shores as our high-speed boat pulled away, racing back toward the mainland. As we arrived back at the magnificent Ao Tien port, mingling once again with the large international tourist groups, I took a moment to reflect on our 3-day, 2-night journey. Quan Lan is not a place of manicured luxury or high-end resorts. It is a place of raw, unpolished beauty. It is an island where the trees still bear the scars of typhoons, where the beaches remain uncrowded and free of commercial noise, and where the locals still pull their livelihood from the sea.